Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is a Friday, April 4th, 2025, 57th anniversary of the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. in an obvious ritual that went over almost everybody's head when once upon a time, when this nation was being founded, everybody probably would have caught on and recognized what was up. Again, Martin Luther King Jr., who assumed the name Martin Luther after the Protestant Reformation leader who wrote the 95 Theses. Martin Luther King Jr. ends up getting assassinated on the 95th day of the leap year, April 4th, 68. Think about it. Again, the Jesuits were created to counter Martin Luther and the 95 Theses, and they are recognized by the Roman Catholic Church on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. As I say that, the top story at this moment on the cable news network is Jerome Powell, Jesuit educated. The headline, Trump's tariffs were much larger than he expected. Again, you guys, every day it is news by the numbers. Jerome Powell's birthday is the 35th day of the year, February 4th. That means today, the 94th day of the year. Again, it's not a leap year, so today's the 94th day of the year, whereas the year MLK was killed, it was a leap year, so it was the 95th day, but it's the 94th day of the year. What is 94 minus 35? It's 59, right? And what's the gematria value of Jerome Powell? It's 59, you know. Jerome Powell is the top story 59 days after his birthday. And again, this stuff's clockwork. It happens every single day. News by the numbers, news by the numbers. And you look at a lot of the faces in media, in government, in high positions, they're Jesuit educated. And if they're not Jesuit educated, they usually either went to Yale or Harvard, Ivy League. And of course, if you missed JFK's speech from decades ago, you should hear his speech about Jesuit Ivy, you know. The Jesuit Ivy types. But yes, again, the Jesuits did give us the calendar that says today's April 4th, 2025. The only reason that it's the year 2025 is because of the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. It really, when you think about how arbitrary it is, it's like, how can it be the year 2025? There are all these years way before. Just all of a sudden they said, you know what? It's year 0. It's the first year, according to us. Do you think about like how ballsy that is to just like declare what the time is? And like I've said, at the same moment that the calendar was implemented, the Jesuits standardized the English alphabet with 26 letters. And like I've said a gazillion times, from the 16th century up to now, if you just go through history, you'll see how English and the calendar are perfectly in tune. You go through his storybook, it's all history by the numbers. Just like day after day, it's news by the numbers. And this news becomes the history. And then people watch these videos and they're like, okay, so does Jerome Powell equal 59 in Mandarin? It's like, why would that be your question? Did you just hear what I said? The Jesuits gave you a new calendar with essentially a new language, as they call the New World the Americas, where they went over and colonized, or at least you thought somebody else was colonizing, but really it was them standing in the shadows behind these nations, which only makes sense since it was Europe that colonized and the Catholic Church ran Europe at the time this place was being colonized. That's why a lot of people were trying to escape Europe, because they didn't like living under the tyranny of the church, where they're constantly trying to suck fees out of people. Every year as time passes on, more taxes, more fees. And funny enough, Jesuits standing behind every policy decision. It blows my mind that I've been here for almost 12 years now. It's going to be 12 years in August, showing this day after day. And again, once upon a time, I felt like we were making major headway and going to change the world, but that was almost a decade ago now, you know, when this channel got good views. But now you just look, it's like the video this morning on tariffs. I mean, I've been laying down the point about tariffs in 34 since the Trump took office again, which again, you just think everybody would be here. I mean, did we not call it out over and over for 4 years why Trump was going to be reinstalled in this election and how he would collapse the economy in his first year? I mean, I've been calling all this stuff out years in advance because it's history repeating itself. He has all the parallels to Grover Cleveland, who collapsed the U.S. economy in his first year back in his second term, his split term. History is being made to repeat itself. All of those things you've heard a million times. History. Oh my God, now I can't even think. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. It's like people don't know about the history of the Catholic Church. They don't know about the history of the Jesuits. They don't know about the warning of the founders about the Jesuits. It's a big part of the reason you got the First and Second Amendment, to protect yourself from these people. And now we live in an age where people don't know who their enemy is. They don't respect the First or Second Amendment. All they want to do is be kept safe from this authority that scared the shit out of them and turned them into a bunch of, I don't want to use played out terms like soy boys, but in a way that is what's happened. I mean, look at the younger people, the younger generation. The girls want to be boys and the boys want to be girls. And it's so weird how many younger men now, like even they're at the age where their balls have dropped and they got some hair on their testicles, but their voices still have like this effeminate sound. It's like, what the hell happened? Yeah. And then, people like me were like from the last generation that resembled masculine qualities. We're all getting a bit too old. Like I threw my shoulder out 2 months ago and the damn thing won't heal. I'm like, God, I can barely lift my shoulder again. I hate getting old. But anyway, let's again go over the ritual with the tariffs, how this is a total mockery of history, and literally from the most famous book on economics that was published the same year this country was created. Everything that's going on with the tariffs is a mockery of that. And actually, before I get into this, also, I'd like your feedback on this. Again, Jonathan and I are finishing the book 38 Special, and Jonathan has a talented member of his family who's good with doing things like this, and this is the cover they've made for the book. What do you guys think about that cover for 38 Special? If you don't know, this book's about the ritualistic murder of entertainers and largely rappers, because they just continue to get killed in 38 rituals. In the last month, there's been like 4 new members of the club. But yeah, I do like that cover. I understand why the 44 is on the handle. I don't know. There's something about the 44 on the handle, though, that is not appealing to my eye, but it's symbolic. I don't know. Maybe if it was just put on the handle in a different way. But I like everything else about this cover a lot. I think it's really well done. It's catchy. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Well done to Jonathan and his family on the cover. We just got to get the book finished. Okay. Let's get into the topic at hand here, the tariffs. All right. So just redundantly, we've been talking about why they're putting the 34 all over the tariffs, right? Tariffs in Gematria equals 34. Trump got cold feet on the 34th day of the year and paused the tariffs, and now he's re-implemented them. But yesterday, it was an additional 34% tariff on China. Today, China retaliates with an additional 34% tariff on the U.S. So now the U.S. has 54% tariffs in total on China, and China has 54% tariffs on the U.S. And again, they're referring to this as a trade war. And again, if you're new here, the 4 base ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26. The alphabetic order with numerology, by the way, Friday equals 36 as well. Here we are with China retaliating on a Friday. The reverse alphabetic order, Z is 1 back to A is 26, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. So alphabetic order forwards and backwards, both orders with numerology applied. Trade war 54. Again, huge number of the Jesuits whose fingerprints are all over this. Just like their fingerprints were all over the scandemic, which again had a lot to do with China and the U.S. And don't forget, the only 2 CDCs in the world that participated in the scandemic simulation on October 18, 2019, the same day the military world games began in Wuhan, China, at event 201, again, which was put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. Again, the only 2 CDCs in the world that participated in that were the U.S. and China. Go figure. And again, event 201, you throw a "the" in front of it, the Jesuit orders 201. But yeah, we're right back here, 34. And if you've been watching the news today, they keep bringing up that this is reminiscent of what happened 5 years ago to the world with the coronavirus pandemic. This is the terminology they're using, that this March is a lot like March from 5 years ago, with world markets dropping, stress on people, consumers, not knowing what to expect next. Notice coronavirus pandemic 94. Here we are on the 94th day of the year. And I've been working this morning, but I've had the news in the background. They keep referencing the pandemic in light of all the parallels to right now. And of course, Trump was in office back then. Again, who stands behind these rituals? The same people gave you the calendar, the same people who the Jesuits served, the Roman Catholic Church, 94, run it interverse 104. And when are the tariffs going in from China, the reciprocal tariffs? They're going in on April 10th. The majority of the world writes that date 10/4. And you see the 193 as well. That's the 44th prime, like today's 44. Again, just to remind you who runs the show. We have critics all around that say, Zach's always blaming the Jesuits. It's Chabad Lubavitch. It's Chabad, actually. Who's the leader of Chabad? Because I'm going to show you how this all synced with the Pope and the Superior General. But who's the leader of Chabad? Let's just see if I'm mistaken. The leader of Chabad is who? He passed away in 94. Oh, that's weird. Interesting. I wonder who did that. Who is the leader? Sorry, we're going off tangent for the critics. Who is the leader of Chabad right now? I don't think the founder's not here anymore. All right, here we go. Okay, let's see if world affairs seem to be synced around him. Oh no, this is the same. God, he's so important. He doesn't even come up in the damn search. We'll look at this later, okay? But I get tired of the people coming around here as I lay down nothing but proof every day of what's going on in the world. We know it wasn't Chabad that put on Event 201. Every day, world affairs are synced with the Pope and the Superior General, and somehow people just want to come here and go, no, now Zach's a shill. It's not them. It's Chabad. It's like, yeah, okay. If we can even figure out who the leader of Chabad is, we'll see if there's any merit to these assertions. But yeah, just a reminder, just leading up to this whole thing with world markets falling sharply yesterday on 3/4. Again, the majority of the world writes date 3/4, falling from the tariffs on 3/4, and we called this out before it happened. Just remember the whole build up with the 34 felony counts connected to the hush money. And earlier it was like one felony turned into 34, and it was all for ritualism purposes. Again, by the way, here we are on the anniversary of Trump saying not guilty on what would have been the 44th birthday of Heath Ledger on 4/4, who played the Joker and died while playing the Joker. And of course, Trump refers to himself as Batman, and Bruce Wayne equals 45. But again, they just finished filming the latest Joker scene in the same courtroom, because this is all one big joke. But remember, hush money 34, like Stormy, like April, like Passover. It was the week of Passover, which is a Jewish thing. Just like Jesus was from Judea, and Trump referred to himself as Jesus Christ the day before he was in the courtroom on the anniversary of Jesus' crucifixion, which 2 years later becomes the day that people's savings accounts and retirements get crucified by the code. But of course, Jesus is 34, like cross, like church. And don't forget, Jesus Christ is 43. You can write the date 4/3 or 3/4. And again, he was warned not to post on Twitter, which was still Twitter at the time. And Twitter's also 115, like the date of the rigged selection. And of course, you end up having the shooting hoax 115 days before the 115 selection on the anniversary of the Jesuits trying to blow up King James, when the first time around it was all about Trump and the King James rituals, having his convention in Cleveland like the only split-term president right after LeBron won the finals on the real King James's birthday, when LeBron's nickname is King James, and the real King James had a son, King Charles, and those who fought for him in the English Civil War were Cavaliers. And again, because we live in a society where nobody knows anything about history, nobody even catches on to these things, doesn't dawn on a single person's conscience about the ritual with King James playing for the Cavs. Not a clue. But again, Passover, also 1/15/34. I was explaining back then, and explaining 2 years even before this, how all of this was a narrative to make Trump even more polarizing. So when they installed him as president, more people would be even more outraged, which is exactly what they've done. You look at these man on the streets on YouTube, the Trump supporters out on the street trying to work up the liberals, how they're just screaming at each other, concrete, you support a rapist felon. It's like everyone's just getting played. They don't see what the show is. They don't see how they have the Hollywood actor who's participating in the WWE reinstalled in office by the numbers with all of these build-up rituals. But yeah, just look at it. Hush money, 1/15/34. Again, the election last year was November 5th. 1/15. Again, the shooting hoax in tribute to Van Gogh with the bandage, oversized bandage deer, which brought back the miraculous recovery with not even a nick in it. Again, that was 115 days before the 1/15 election. And don't forget who told you the day that RFK Jr. got in the race that there was going to be assassination hoaxes with Trump in the build-up to the election. I mean, we've been ahead of all of it. That's why you'd think, based on all that we've nailed and been 1,000,000% correct about, you'd think there'd be like 1 million people tuned into each stream. Like 1 million people in the live stream. By the time it was done, within a few days, it would have 100 million views. That's what should be happening here. If that was happening, the world would be changing. Said you got all these people going, wait a minute, how come Batman doesn't equal 51 in Mandarin? Like, did you listen to the beginning of the video, moron? Again, the date numerology that Batman was in court after they filmed Joker was a date with 51 and 15 numerology. You know, Bruce Wayne, 45. Donald Trump fiddling the little boy in his helicopter, tells the little boy, I am Batman. And realize the Kobe sacrifice had a lot to do with Trump's last year in office. Trump was always doing his interviews next to helicopters with the blades spinning. Another ritual that nobody caught on to. It's like, why is Trump always outside of a helicopter that's on, like the noisiest thing there is in the world, with his golden mop blowing all over, yelling into the mic? It's just, God, it's just all of this. And then Kobe ends up dead in a helicopter. When the helicopter crashed on Trump's course on the 88th day of the year, Mr. 88 Trump. Remember last year when there was a earthquake on his golf course on 4/5? Tomorrow's the anniversary of that. We showed you how that connected to Scotty Scheffler before the Masters and why he was pretty much a lock to win the thing. Of course, we've hit 5 out of the last 6 Masters before they began. Streak started with Tiger Woods, who won his first Masters 22 years after, or he won his last Masters 22 years after his first and 11 years after his last major, when the master numbers are 11 and 22. Back then, we were still getting views. Back then, it was able to put out semi-viral content. Not anymore. But yeah, anyway, I really just wanted to go over the 34 pieces, all this 34 crap, and how this was 2 years ago, this 34 ritual. And now it's this. It's economic crimes. If Adam Smith were alive, he would say, this is an economic crime, what Donald Trump is doing. This guy's an economic felon. And don't forget that felon and Trump both equal 25, and how they, the judge upheld the appeal on the 25th day of the Pope's age, so Trump would enter office as the first felon president, perfectly synced with the Pope. But we'll go back and look and see how it was synced up with the leader of Chabad, for all the people that come by here. Zach's a shill. It's Chabad. It's all synced up with Chabad. Okay. By the way, here was that ritual about Trump becoming officially the first felon president. It was announced that this would be the case on January 10th after the appeal failed. And again, it was the Judge Juan Merchan, which equals 45. But yeah, felon and Trump 25, just like Pope. You know, the ruling on the 25th day of the Pope's age. The Chabad people will be like, don't you see the small hat? He's actually Chabad. Yeah, the Catholic Church is actually Chabad. Yeah. By the way, you know, that ritual is on the 59th day of the Superior General's age. He must be Chabad too. Again, just the whole ritual of Trump in the same courtroom where they filmed Joker. I finally just saw the latest Joker movie a few weeks back. I didn't realize what a violent scene ends up happening in that courtroom. It just makes me wonder if that's some kind of predictive programming. If you haven't seen the movie, the courtroom blows up. Yeah. Donald Trump versus the braggart. Remember how this all led up to the 60th election? Poll says 76% say Trump indictment is correct. And then remember, just days after the Superior General turned 76, the headline broke that Trump was the first Republican to get 76 million votes for president. But it's all synced with Chabad. Yeah, okay. Okay. By the way, you guys, China did say they'd retaliate on the 35th day of the year. And China does equal 35. Just for the record, that was one day after Trump paused it. So, hold on real quick. I got somebody to throw it. It'll just take a second. All right. Hey, by the way, thank you to the very generous person out there. That's a lot to donate, friend. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you again, generous John. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We need more bros and yes, sir. I did say that the podcast name will be Count on It, but yes, sir, bruh. Could be another thought because, as we know, the most watched Gematria channel, somebody who's taken the work that I've done here and made it look absolutely ridiculous, but fills up every video with about 50 bros and 10 yes sirs. Somehow that's the one getting all the views these days. Yeah, it's just so redundant, you guys. Again, this was the post from earlier this year, February 4th, 7:42 a.m. Nice that I got at the 42nd minute. But again, the date can be written 4/2. Again, war, World War, Freemason, Jesuit, all 42. Then Trump, at the Rose Garden on April 2nd, the other 4/2 date, launching his trade war. Again, 35th day. You remember China equals 35 like Gaza. That was the same day Trump said he was going to turn Gaza into a new Trump casino. I'm sure they'll love that in the Middle East. I'm sure that'll start another 100 years of jihadism. Anyway, that's what they want. Eternal wars for eternal profit. But okay, again, just about this whole 34 thing. This whole thing literally is a mockery of the father of economics, Adam Smith. It's all synced with his well-known book, The Wealth of Nations, as we've been covering. But notice, Adam Smith, in the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with numerology is 34, just like tariffs. Adam Smith, who wrote the book about why tariffs should not be used and how they're destructive, can lead to the destruction of economies, how they can lead to wars between nations. That's Adam Smith. And just to remind you guys what they did with The Wealth of Nations, which was published the same year this nation was born. This book's older than this nation, March 9th, 1776. That book's 248 years old, like President Donald Trump's 248, like how the Illuminati's 248. Look at how from the anniversary of the publishing of that book to the day that Trump implemented his first tariffs after returning to office. And by the way, all these 25% tariffs too, when Trump's 25. And it's 2025. But anyway, notice it was exactly 47 weeks when you run it in reverse. Tariffs, 47 like Trump. Again, the 25% tariffs were the starter. Trump, 25. The tariffs were imposed on the 47th day of the Pope's age. But I hope when the lines open up, the Chabad people can call in and tell me who the leader of Chabad is, because I can't even find it. But you better have some good arguments. I want to see that these things are so tightly coordinated with the leader of Chabad. All you guys who frequent my comment section. Zach's a shill. It's not the Jesuits. It's the small hats. It's Chabad. I mean, seriously, are we on Chabad's calendar? Did Chabad standardize the 26-letter alphabet? Can't you see the Pope is in a small hat? He is Chabad. Pope is the root word of Shabbat. Again, the Pope's 88 right now, like Trump, like we told you this years ago, why he'd return while the Pope's 88. Adam Smith is also 88 in the same way. Trump is the anti-Adam Smith right now. And just for the record, just Francis and Vatican 47. Don't forget when the first Super Bowl ever occurred on the Pope's or on the Vatican's birthday, there were 47 points in the game. Not to mention the Vatican's birthday is 211, and 211 is the 47th prime. And by the end of that Super Bowl 58, the Chiefs with Andy Reid and Mahomes, the Super Bowls they'd played in had a combined 211 points. Again, they play for the, you know what? The Chabad people, you guys are going to rewrite the history, right? The Lombardi Trophy, as we know, is actually named after a Jesuit, Vince Lombardi. Very Jesuit, died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown, but I suppose that maybe actually he was Chabad. Maybe he was Chabad too. Biggest TV event of the year is actually Chabad. It's not Jesuit, even though all the facts point to Jesuits. Georgetown's actually a Chabad university. Tariffs, also 79, like Society of Jesus, like how old Trump will turn this year. President 110 and 47. Adam Smith died on a curious date, 17/7. Same day Catherine the Great's husband died from arsenic poisoning, which the Jesuits kill people with. The Jesuit Order 177. Go figure. From Adam Smith's death anniversary to Trump getting cold feet on the 34th day of the year and delaying the tariffs, which have now been imposed, was 201 days. Remember, Catherine the Great's husband dies on 17/7, and then she preserves the Jesuit order with 201 Jesuit priests. Weird. Maybe all along it was actually Chabad priests. They were Chabad rabbis. The Chabadians rewrote the history to pin it on the Jesuits, which nobody knows about, but somehow every baby truther on the internet blames everything on small hats. Okay. So, again, it's annoying to be so on the money, and then the next day to be even more on the money, and somehow the next day your video gets even less views than the day before. It's like you'd think there'd be like some kind of growth here, more people catching on. Once upon a time, this is the way it worked. I remember when I started my channel. Actually, what's sad, you guys, is when I started my channel, when I was brand new to this and I hardly knew anything, but I knew enough. I got better views back then than I get now. That's how bad it is right now. That's how bad it is. I get worse views now than I did when I started the channel. Like literally after 2 weeks, I had better viewership than I have right now. As we approach year 12. Okay, trade war, 54, like Jesuit order. Again, Sun Tzu, who wrote Art of War, associated with China. And again, the only reason we know about the book is because of the Jesuit priest Father Amiot, who translated it and made it popular in 1773. But again, his name is Sun. Like the Jesuit order's logo, the sun, like the Catholic Church worships the sun, Sol Invictus, Sun 54. And isn't it weird how Trump, Xi Jinping, and Adam Smith all have birthdays in consecutive days? Like, what are the odds of this? They're doing the 34 tariffs, Adam Smith tributes. You know what I mean? Well, like, what are the odds of this? Xi Jinping 71 right now, Catholic 71, Trump 78, Jesuit 78. I mean, like, how? How? Again, the latest estimates, the current tariff schedule, and that's now. I mean, this is trade war. It could get worse. It could keep escalating. But at the moment, out of the gate, average extra cost for U.S. households, which the average cost has just gone up a lot. I mean, God, I feel like I'm spending $2,100 extra a year on eggs right now out here in the Pacific Northwest. Carton of eggs has been $10 for what, going on 3 months now. I see the average price for the nation's $5.19. Man, if you're somewhere and a carton of eggs is $5 right now, I wish it was like that out here. God, you can't find it for, like I said, it's harder to find it for cheaper than $10. But anyway, $2,100 per year is the estimate, and I'm sure they pulled this right out of their Jesuit asshole. Jesuit equals 21 like trade. Today on 4/4, the word all over the place is recession. Recession 44. China's trade reciprocal tariffs are expected to go into effect April 10th. That's 114 days after the Pope's birthday. Again, Trump's Mr. Art of the Deal. We covered this yesterday. If you missed yesterday, Trump gave his speech about why he was doing this 72 days after taking office. Yesterday, hold on. Let me make sure I got it right. Actually, the day of his speech in the Rose Garden was a span of 153 days from the anniversary of the publishing of Art of the Deal. Yesterday, the day the market tanked, was 153 days after the anniversary of the publishing of Art of the Deal. So either the span of days or the days after. Both days had the 153 thing going on. Again, the Jesuit HQ is Church of the Jesuit, Building 54. United States of America is 144. When Trump posed with the Jesuit Pope, it was on the 144th day of the year. That was back on May 24, 2017. All these numbers are huge in Jesuit rituals. When the Jesuits came out of suppression, it was 144 days after James Madison's birthday, who was the sitting president at the time. But the point is, all these numbers are getting used in the ritual. Trade war 54, 54% tariffs on China, and China has 54% tariffs on us. Sun Tzu. Art of War. I mean, it just could it be any more obvious? A Jesuit priest from France, just like the Jesuits are from France. Father Amiot, that's who republished Art of War. But yeah, China's implementing, and we'll have it at 54%, 114 days after the Pope's birthday. Art of War 114, like World War, and this literally is a form of world wars, is economic warfare. And a lot of times economic warfare is what leads to more physical warfare, where people are blowing each other up with missiles, bombs, bullets. At this day and age, cyber attacks, hacking, you name it, poison, gas, weapons we've never seen before because we're so technologically advanced now. You know, what's the quote from Einstein about what the world will be back to after the Third World War? By the end of the Third World War, we'll be fighting each other with sticks and stones. I honestly, I hope so. I would love to have a level playing field. I'll have to recuperate my shoulder so I can take out some of these dummies with the stones. Either that or become left-handed. Anyway. From the Superior General's birthday to the day that China's implementing tariffs is 149 days, and that is a Skull and Bones number. And remember, Skull and Bones is directly related to the Jesuits because Skull and Bones is modeled after the Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And Skull and Bones gets their symbolism from how the Templars buried their dead, and the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo, because Templars are the old military order, Jesuits are the new military order of the Pope. But 149 is the 35th prime, going with China. You run it in reverse, China's 100. April 10th is the 100th day of the year, so Xi Jinping's keeping it 100 by the numbers. Again, same Jesuits run China that run the U.S. And again, 35, as we know, just big with the Catholic history. First Catholic president, JFK, number 35, killed on 9/35. Second Catholic president, Joe Biden, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Run it the other way, Catholic equals 46. Like Joe Biden elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday is number 46. Like JFK killed at 46. Again, Holy See, that's the territory the Jesuits control, 35. Jesuitism, 35. Let me see, does Chabad fit in? Hold on, we haven't ran the numbers on Chabad. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Chabad is 35. Now, since it's not a chicken or the egg thing, when it comes to Zionism and who really stands behind the church, you're going to have to look into the what the Catholics have done with these sects of Judaism. I'm going to have to do some more work with Chabad with all these Chabad comments. Okay. Again, China did say they would retaliate on the 35th day of the year, just to remind you. Let's see. They're reciprocal tariffs. Reciprocal is also 100 for the 100th day of the year, just for the record. Couldn't be any more by the numbers. Remember when Marco Rubio and Trump were fighting over who had bigger hands, and Rubio was talking about how Trump would be an absolute horrible leader. Now they're buddies, and Trump is an absolutely horrible leader. Isn't it funny how it all works? First he goes along with the banker scandemic out of Switzerland, prints out a whole bunch of money, causes hyperinflation. Spends 4 years talking about how incompetent Joe Biden is. Joe Biden, who took the stock market to a record high, something Trump would have been bragging about all day if he were in office. Just imagine if the tables were turned. Imagine it was Joe Biden who'd taken over right now and done this with tariffs and driven the economy into a major decline. Imagine how Trump would be on social media right now. And all his retard followers be like, yeah. And again, I'm not endorsing Joe Biden. He's also a Jesuit puppet. Again, both Jesuit-educated men, both playing their part in the puppet show. I'm just making the point of just like the dumbasses who invest in these political parties, and it keeps them from seeing the obvious. You know damn well Trump would be talking so much shit right now about how incompetent and stupid Joe Biden was. But what was it yesterday? The market tanks big time, and Trump just shrugs his shoulders, says, trust the plan. Trust the plan. Well, anybody who knows anything about the history of tariffs knows that they've never helped anyone out. They've never helped anyone out ever. All they do is add expenses for we the people. Well, I shouldn't say they shouldn't. I take it back. I'm going to retract what I just said. The government's going to collect a lot of money. It could backfire, and they could collect less money because it could destroy jobs and other forms of tax revenue. But people at the top will collect money from this while we have to pay the bill for it. And how that money gets siphoned off, the way DC works, the District of Criminals collects our tax money and then gives the money to the people that they like. And then Fox News runs stories about poor welfare queens all day, and people think those are the real welfare queens, when really it's the rich ruling class. It's the Elon Musks, it's the Mark Zuckerbergs, it's the Jeff Bezoses, it's the people who run Walmart and Cabela, the people that get major tax subsidies, and they're already super rich. So it's like, God, these super rich people are getting just billions of dollars from the government to help out their business enterprise. Yeah, the real welfare queens are up at the top. Okay. Yeah, again, just look how perfect it is. On the 94th day of the year, the tariffs are going in on 10-4, 193.44 prime. I mean, it just can be any more perfect. So, I think those are the main points I wanted to hit. I mean, there's more we could even say. You guys can go back and watch all the videos we've been covering about tariffs by the numbers up to this point, but I think I made the point clear enough. And I've noticed Fox News in recent days is just like trying to avoid the whole tariff and market topic. Trump admin sends warning signal to states defying the president's executive orders. Okay, is that the top story right now? How's the market doing at the moment? Oh, market's down 2,029 points. Didn't I say the other day it could go down to 34,000? Don't kid yourself. Or in just 2 days, we're almost halfway there. The last time the market was at about 34,000. I remember it was at 33,000 in October of 2023. Remember, October is the only 33 month, as the war was beginning in Israel. And I said, when wars come around, markets usually do well. The market skyrocketed after the war started in Israel. And yeah, so if it went back down to 34,000, that's the range it was in when the war began in Israel. And don't forget, you guys, it went up to 33,000 in October. It was down at 32,400, and I called that in advance. I said, don't be surprised if the market's at the 33K range in October. Exactly where it was. Here's the catastrophic failure on Fox News. Biden's ambitious climate goals go down in literal flames by Popular Beach. Do you care to talk about what Trump's doing is part of Agenda 2030? Again, the big part of the plan is to reduce consumerism, making things super expensive. This is part of the climate initiatives. You got the lifelong Democrat Trump in there, serving the agenda. He knows his base is dumb enough to not realize that tariffs are taxes, so they don't see this as new taxes because they're that dumb. They don't have a clue about Agenda 2030 or that Trump's a Jesuit puppet, so they don't see it. I mean, you see what a joke this is. This has everything to do with their climate change agenda right now. Secretary of State Rubio stands up to European leaders, says Trump is absolutely right. Okay. Leadership shakeup. New acting director and deputy named at NSA after Trump firings. What do you know? The Apprentice is firing people again. Don't forget, The Apprentice equals 211, the 47th prime. It also equals 68 like Donald John Trump. And the phrase "you're fired" equals 144 and 54 like Jesuit order. Just perfect for a Jesuit puppet. Bill Murray allegedly threatens man after accusing him of assault in video. Man, not really. These are bigger stories right now, Fox News, than the market being down over 2,000 points. Jesus. Let's see. Well, my ticker on my computer is just a hair behind. My ticker has the market down 2,029, so it must have had a little bump. Either that or this is behind right here, but it's right about 2,000 right now at the moment. Will it go down to 34,000 because of the tariffs? Realize Monday, you guys. Monday is 4/7, right? Going to be the moment of truth on 4/7. Saw a lot of dummies in a big conservative live stream this morning saying it was a great time to buy this morning. Buy now. It's going to bump up quick. And I should have hung on and wait for it to dip a little bit more, man. It's still on sale. Still on the way down. Got to learn your gematria. Start making calls like us. But hey, when you make calls like us and you're dead on it from crypto to markets to sports to news, you see what happens. YouTube makes it so no one can find your content because it's too damn good. For this website designed for hacks and wannabe entertainers. And again, it's sad, all the stuff that gets a lot of views on this platform. A lot of useless trash. It's way beside the point. House Democrat scolds his own party for knee-jerk reaction to Trump tariffs. Can you imagine if this was the other way around, what the headline would be? Oh, there's the tariff headline. Oh. Hey, just trust the plan. Just trust the plan. You know, the market down 3.1 trillion yesterday, even more today. We must be down about 6 trillion today. Hey, you know what? We've only lost 10 trillion in market value in the last 48 hours. Let's not have a knee-jerk reaction. It was only 10 trillion. You know, Donald Rumsfeld and the Pentagon lost over 2 trillion years ago, and you adjust that for value, it'd be 5 trillion today. So, I mean, you know, what's another 10 trillion? Yeah, it was also in the time of Republican leadership. And I understand, you guys. I'm not lobbying for two sides. It's just I kind of get more annoyed. Well, I get annoyed with both sides of the aisle. It's just you got a lot of people on the Republican side that really think that they just really know their shit. You know, Jesus is real. The Republicans are the truth. It's like these are some of the dumbest people there ever was. You guys really do set yourself up for believing in false idols. You got to stop that. It's a destructive practice. Let's see. How about down here? Luxury cruise ship caught in 40-foot waves and seen straight out of horror movie. Oh, yeah, that sounds important. Transgender activist tells Dr. Phil trans women are not males. Well, some things I just won't disagree with. Dem silent as aide attempts to intimidate block Fox News question about violence. I don't even understand what that means. Okay, yeah, so Fox News is really trying to skirt around the story of the day. How's the BBC carry the story today? China and U.S. are at each other's throats on tariffs, and neither is backing down. 34%. Why BBC yet to cover the story of the hidden numerical code behind the English language? How appropriate out of London. I mean, just real simple. Keep it simple. ABC 1, 2, 3. English equals 74, Gematria 74, London 74, Occult 74, Masonic 74. The list goes on. You know, Holiday 74, on and on and on. The King 74. Remember what they did on the King Charles 74th birthday? Killings at the Virginia Cavaliers campus and on Kings Road at the University of Idaho. And again, killing equals 74. Man, talk about an overdue story. Now, here's one for all you Chabad people. It says this asteroid has a 3.8% chance of hitting the moon. In Hebrew gematria, moon does equal 38. So how about that? A 3.8% chance of hitting the moon. Yeah, everything is being paralleled to the pandemic. And just what an obvious ritual it is. What an obvious ritual. How's MSNBC covering it? The formula Trump used. The formula Trump used for his tariff chart is almost too ridiculous to be believed. Yeah. Again, everything they do is just meant to piss off the other side of the aisle. You know. And think about all the people right now. They're like, I can't wait for the midterms. I'm voting Democrat. You know, just wait until they get in. You know, they'll probably campaign the next 2 years on how dumb the tariffs are, and then they'll get in there and they'll be like, you know what? 74% tariffs. Because that's exactly how it works in this nation. And then the dummies keep still going out and voting for these two parties. Comedian Russell Brand charged with RAPE? Really? It's because he was telling too much truth on YouTube. Yeah. No, this is another battle of the sexes psyop by the numbers, I guarantee it. June 4th birthday, huh? This is a little pre-show before the Diddy trial comes up. Diddy at age 55. And don't forget who told you Diddy was going down at age 54 before it happened. That was yours truly. Told you that a year before it happened, why he'd go down at age 54. It's too easy to see. Hold on. It's 61 days before his upcoming birthday. A little bit curious about this Russell Brand thing. A string of RAPEs that go back more than 25 years in 2025? Wow. So he would have been 24 years old when this started, thus in his 25th year of life. How about that? Tied to 4 separate women. And they happened between 99 and 2005. Doesn't 2005 look a lot like 25? I'll do a decode on this later. I don't feel like decoding it right now. I'm sure there's definitely something to it. But the battle of the sexes, man. Battle of the sexes. That's another big agenda right now. Everything to make people not procreate. All right. Here, I'll drop the link if you guys want to join the stream. I'll take calls here for about 20 or so minutes. Thank you again for the very generosity. If you don't mind, I'm just going to call you Saj from now on because I am not sure how to pronounce your name. And I hope Saj isn't way off the mark either. But thank you again for the generosity. Thank you again, John Mendoza, for the Yes Sir podcast. Wow, HXMS. I don't know where you guys are coming out of the woodwork today with the big donations, but I do appreciate it. We've already made more money in April than we made in all of March. Thank you. Flip-flop topics. Every dollar counts. Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot. Here, I'm going to drop the link to join. And for all the Chabad people out there, please, if you could let me know who the leader of Chabad is, I'd like to go back and run the tape and make sure we're not just way off the mark here, like you guys say. It's all Chabad. All right, I just dropped the link for the stream. And I suppose we can do the call in too. If you don't like joining, the other option is to call in. And I will put that number up on the screen. I wasn't looking at the chat when I showed the book cover, but I imagine it got positive feedback. Let me know after the stream in the comments if you like that book cover that Jonathan and his family worked on. I think it looks pretty great. All right. If you guys want to call in, there is a number or a link to join. For the question about when the new TFR begins, it won't be called TFR anymore because Truth Frequency Radio is defunct. But again, I am starting at least 2 nights a week, Tuesday and Thursday, likely 2-hour streams both nights. And it could be as soon as next Thursday, but it might actually be not next week, but the week after. It won't start any later than the week after. And if it's successful, I'll probably extend it to Sunday night as well. We'll probably end up doing 3 streams a week. I'd like to change the channel to doing a lot of really nice short content that's well edited, as well as the 3 streams a week. And some of them will be call-in shows and some won't. 559 is our first caller, and then we got 2 people in the back. What's up, 559?
What's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's going on?
I like everything that you do, man. When I'm in position to donate, I definitely will, man. I like what you got going. There's nobody else like you. So I want to see you keep I want to see you get back to where you were.
I appreciate that.
I'm definitely a believer. Definitely a believer. I want to ask you something. I just want to, because everything that you say, all of this stuff is very interesting, man. I got up on you about a year ago. With the ritualistic killings, do you think that they have like some type of hit team that will go off and kill somebody?
I do. Just to answer your question, I do. And I think they allude to this stuff in plenty of movies they've put out in popular fiction, from Agent 47, not to mention the word agent equals 47. Have you seen the newer Tyler Perry show on Netflix? I think it's called Beauty in Black. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Well, it's about a powerful family in the Chicago area that has a huge business, and how they essentially have the whole police force in the town working for them, and they got paid for killers and everything. I mean, I think this stuff that they show you in movies is a lot like how the system works.
That's very interesting. You know, people, you tell them that they just don't want to believe that. You know, they want to believe that everything happens by chance. And the first time I ever heard, the first thing that struck me.
Here, hold on. These same people, though, would know the history of the mob and killing people, and they probably know the history of the mob and the government working together. So if they know these things, then why would they think that these things aren't possible when essentially they've happened in the past?
What's that term for it? Cognitive dissonance or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
People, they know, they just are denying what they see right in front of their face. So it's very, very strange. The first time I heard anything about any of this and how it led me to you was the LeBron James 2016 Game 7 win in the real King James. I said, you know what? There's no way that is just coincidence. That doesn't make any sense for that to be a coincidence. And that led me to you. I still haven't got your book yet. I've listened to a lot of what you have to say, but I need to order your book and read that.
By the way, you can get my books for free. Anyone can get my books for free. Just go to my Patreon page. You don't have to sign up for Patreon, but there's a search feature once you get on patreon.com/Zachary. Just type in ebooks, and there'll be plenty of options. I post it every few months for free for people to download from there. You can just download them both as ebooks for free right off my Patreon.
I'm kind of old school with it, man. I need a paperback or something like that. How do I get that?
Amazon. Just search my name on Amazon, Zachary K. Hubbard.
Okay.
Just a heads up. So the Number Games is on Amazon, and when you buy that, and they've raised the price on that quite a bit. I don't control the price on there. I don't get that much off that sale either, but that is a way to get it in paperback form. I have no control over the price. I get $2 per sale. Amazon gets the rest. It used to be $15 on there. I think they have it up to $25 a book right now. A woman out of Canada, her name is Anne. She is putting out my first book in volumes on there, and it does have my name on Amazon, but she actually gets all the proceeds of the sale, and I gave her permission to do that just because the book wasn't selling anyway. So my first book, Letters and Numbers, is 800 pages long, which is a really fat book if you make it. So she's putting out like 100 pages at a time in volumes. And I think she's only charging $3 or $4 for them. So you can get, I'd encourage everybody to read volume 1 of that book, and it only costs you about $3. It gets you a lot of introduction material for why they do this.
Right. Another thing I wanted to say that was kind of interesting, how people deny that this is real. So many people that will believe in Trump. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I was one of the idiots that would have voted for Trump. I didn't vote, but if I did, I would have voted for Trump, because I would say that, hey, hopefully the slavery would be better under Trump than it would be under the alternative, because maybe he might do something to make the economy better. I was one of those, but I know at the same time, knowing that it's rigged and all that.
Here's what I'm going to remind people about the two parties. They're both bad. They both don't represent us, but think about this. Who was in power when 9/11 happened?
Exactly.
Republicans. Who was in power when COVID happened? Republicans. Who's in power now when this is happening right now, this crazy trade war making things more expensive than ever? Republicans.
Right. You pick your poison. But people, why do people have this perception that, hey, this is good, we're going to have to go through a little suffering, but we're going to come out with the rainbows on the other side with a pot of gold in a very quick amount of time? Because Trump talks, yeah, we're going to make it happen so quickly, we're going to make it happen very quickly, that type of a thing. Why do they believe that?
I completely agree. So,
yeah, I don't know why people believe that. I don't know. 2025 is one of their milestone years. I don't know if you know about. It seems like you wouldn't know about Deborah Tavares.
That name is familiar, but I've forgotten who that is.
There's a website called StopTheCrime.net. Go to that website. This woman, she comes from a family of home builders. When I was in college, I was doing a research paper, and I was in the library, and I had YouTube up at the same time. And some strange video just kept catching my eye on YouTube. I'm like, what the hell is that? And so I kept trying to ignore it, but I eventually went to it, and the lady was saying some stuff that was wild. And I'm like, what the hell? I never heard stuff this lady was talking about, and it just led me down the rabbit hole. You go to that website. The woman, she comes from a family of home builders that were very rich, but they started losing money. And they actually dissolved their business because they found out, well, it came to be that they couldn't insure the homes. They couldn't provide certain insurances on the homes. The government was making these new laws and changes, and they're like, why is this happening? And after they dissolved the business, they were okay because they were rich already. So she had the time and the resources to investigate, and it led her down a crazy rabbit hole. Pretty much that there's a document called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars.
I got that on my bookshelf behind me. I know that one. Yeah, indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
She promotes that document heavy, that everybody read that.
All right, Deborah Tavares. I know I've checked her out, but it's been a minute, so I got to go back and look. Hey, friend, I got a lot of people on hold, and I only got about 15 more minutes before I have to go get Sweet Girl. But I appreciate the support, and yeah, feel free to download those books off my site.
All right, Zach, man, what's up?
All right, take care, man. Thank you. All right, I can't take any more calls on the number because I got enough people in the back room. Everyone in the back room, if you're patient, I'm going to get you on. There's for you. And for the troll in the chat who just left, I just see you spamming away, troll. Zach never talks about Mozart and the Freemasons. Really, I don't. I mean, this post is from 2018. You're 7 years late to the party, buddy. There's not a lot in this world that I haven't talked about. I've been here every day for almost 12 years, and I have been here every day. That's not cap. That's a statement to hard work and how much has been put out there. But yeah, I've definitely talked about Mozart and the Masons, troll. So do better research. Work on your troll game. Your troll game is very, very easily broken. What's up, Green Kid?
What's going on, brother? I haven't been on in a while, but I've had a lot to say. In talking about oh shit, I forgot what that guy touched on that I wanted to touch on. But anyways, what I really want to say is that they're revealing to us day in, day out what they're gonna do. It's so blatant. Nobody remembers the past. It's frustrating because you try to tell people I preached your work when I was working at work. I told him like, look, he's doing this, he did this. Why do you think we're at where we're gonna go towards right now? And the tariffs, or I mean the taxes on the rich, they're gonna expire when he just so happens to come back in office, and he's gonna renew them again. Don't think he's not gonna do it again. He doesn't have our best interests. Like, how can you be so stupid? Like, dude, I haven't voted since Obama. That was the first and last time since I've ever voted. After that, it's just like it's all a sham, dude. I started noticing like with the bombings that he was doing, the drone strikes and whatnot. It's like dude, like this isn't something. I just started like waking up a lot more. I knew 9/11 what was I mean, just all the evidence that's out there, and the contrary to it doesn't even make sense. But regardless, like all the movies that I've seen, like with especially the Leave the World Behind one, like all the stuff that happened with the bridge collapses, the cell phone outage. And I think you said there was an event that they paid homage to with the leaflets or something like that.
Well, they were dropping a lot of leaflets back in the war after 9/11. Somebody just brought that up the other day. Like, they're doing that like that. I was like, well, they've done the leaflets thing in the past. That's nothing new. I mean, the leaflet thing, I think they were doing back in World War II. So,
yeah. On the bookshelf, I don't know where they're at. If they're at that residence that has a Commodus this panic room or whatever. But I seen a number of books. One of the books was an Asian movie. I don't know if I think it was Chinese, but in the movie they depicted a scenario post-apocalyptic, not post-apocalyptic, but because of war. So I guess you could say that there was like a war between China and I don't know if it was the West or Europe. It was, I was reading subtitles, so I don't know if they were translated correctly, but it indicated that China won the war, and as a result of the war, that there was nukes used and people had to wear like all kinds of. So basically, it painted all that, and I'm thinking like, well, is that something similar to what's going on right now with the tariffs, and how it's not necessarily going to be like a war fought with weapons, but it's going to be worse because a lot of people depend on things to be readily accessible based off their income. So if they can't afford that, what do you think is going to happen? Famine. I feel like there's going to be a famine. Like, food's not going to sell. It's going to go to waste. They're not going to give it away. They have to profit off of it, So just stuff like that. I don't want to keep up too much of your time. You said you got to go. I'll keep it short and simple. I just feel like we need to start operating in secrecy, because if we do it out in the open, they're obviously going to know what our agenda is. You know what I mean? Kind of sort of like Fight Club. Got to operate in that sense.
Pretty hard to operate in secret in this world, man. They got listening and viewing devices everywhere, man. We need just a mass uprising of people who know what's up and say, we're coming for you. You can't stop us.
There's more of us than there are of them.
Yeah, there's way more of us than them. That's why I wish people would use the power we have, which is big numbers.
Yep. Yeah. All right, man. Take it easy. Keep doing what you're doing, and let's try to survive this.
We will survive. We will survive. Appreciate it, Green Kid. Take care, man. All right, we got Pigo's Trading Desk.
What's going on, Zach? Long time.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Man, they've been suppressing the hell out of your videos. They don't have to actually search you up to find you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's aside the point. I just wanted to say really fast, I don't want to take up your time either. Did you see the TikTok 75 ritual with China?
The 75-day extension?
Yep.
I didn't look into it, but I see it as a top headline right now. What did you gather? I mean, we know what 75 represents. What did you gather from that?
I just see it as a humiliation ritual, to be honest. I think because Trump doesn't have a trade policy. His trade policy is chaos. So essentially, he's going to keep reneging and saying and reneging on all of his policies, leading to more volatility and leading to a faster collapse of the American economy and the dollar, which will put us into the stablecoin system faster. You know, he is the great destroyer.
That's a point I meant to make. Everything they're doing right now with this shakeup of the economy that's tanking markets, they have a planned end to this, and they'll probably bring more unity, that greater one world government, that new world order. By the way, new world order equals 75. Like that, they want to make the China company sell to an American company, TikTok. And notice there's TikTok ads on TV all over right now, but yeah, I mean, this has a planned outcome, and it'll probably be a greater trade deal amongst the world. Again, everything they do is order out of chaos. They have to create a big problem so that everybody goes along with the planned solution.
You know what's funny though? TikTok is an American company. They run on Oracle servers. It's not Chinese at all. Like, sure, it has Chinese properties, but it's not a Chinese company. It's an American company. The Chinese company is Douyin.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I find it absurd, but yeah, this is all just to, you know, expedite the process of putting us into this digital technocratic system that's going to be ruled by AI. That's why you're seeing all these job cuts in the federal agencies and all that. It's to put us in that system, make everything AI.
Yeah.
Oh, and
yeah, absolutely.
One more fun fact before I let you go. Did you know Mozart used to compose songs with his starling? That's a pretty cool fact that I liked.
I didn't know that. It reminds me of Starlink, like the Musk thing. And again, just all this stuff they're throwing at us. Don't forget, on the opening days of the administration, you had all those billionaires up there talking about the Stargate project, and the head of Oracle. Well, he was talking about how they can create cures in one day with this thing, but just a few months before that, he was talking about how that with AI, pretty soon he sees this utopia where everyone's under surveillance, so everyone has to be on their best behavior at all times. And again, you guys, this thing about this world that they're telling us they want to create, everything's under surveillance, everything's digital. Big Brother's got their eyes on everything you do at all times. There's no way to, not pay a penny of taxes. Again, people better wake up.
Oh yeah. Well, brother, good talking to you again, man. Keep up the good work.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Pico. All right, we got Real Talk. What's up, Real Talk?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah, I got some quick points I'm going to try to run through. I think everyone's been touching on some pretty good stuff. So when it comes to the power structure, I've always noticed that, the Democrats are going after your money and the Republicans are going after your rights. But Trump was an ex-Democrat. Adam Curtis from the BBC, his documentary called Hyper-Normalization, an excellent documentary to watch. He covers how Trump was the face of the bankers when New York City was having real estate problems. He pretty much allowed the banks to come in and buy everything up. The city was having problems, so he was the Democrat at that time. He played that role. So Trump is going to be able to get your rights and your money. It's like he can do both at the same time. As you guys were discussing earlier, Republicans, they kind of go after your rights. And I think to myself, if the majority of the supposed gun owners are Republicans, if the Democrats try to go after your rights, those Republicans could come out and quote unquote defend the Constitution, which I don't think would happen. But hypothetically speaking, that's the trend we've seen. Republicans take your rights, Democrats will take your money. Trump, he'll take both. I'll end on that point. Now, when it comes to high dollar business people, CEOs, getting whacked and killed, that one documentary with Kay Griggs, she describes how Israelis, Mossad, will train with the SEALs and do wet ops murders in this country to take out very important people. So she covered that in 1997. So what the gentleman was speaking before, those are facts. Now let's talk about Mr. Warren Buffett, who never loses on the stock market. Before the election, it was months before, he dropped Berkshire Hathaway. They dropped majority of Apple's stock. They were the majority shareholder.
And they went to holding cash. Yeah, they dropped a lot of their stocks. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So how is Mr. Warren Buffett, who never loses on the stock market, that's what he's known as, the big winner, why would he be taking away from the, let's just say one of the most dominant stocks, Apple? It's always up. They got cutting edge technology. Their phones, everyone's into them. If Apple's never losing, why is this big wig taking all this money out of Apple unless he knows that something's coming down the line.
I just got to remind people, the Oracle of Omaha. What's an Omaha? Oh, one of those Jesuit universities. That loser on the internet, Destiny. Where did he go? He went to the Jesuit prep school in Omaha.
Is that the school with all the are you talking about the huge in Omaha, Nebraska, the huge controversy with the boys' school and all the molestation?
Well, and it turns out that Destiny's been doing pretty wicked things. Well, Destiny goes both ways. He's proud to get banged in his ass and go with girls. But another little Jesuit prep school loser that's big on the internet who has no business. Anyway, just again, he's associated with Jesuit town Warren Buffett. Go ahead.
And let's kind of go to the overall grand scheme of things. Capitalism. Is capitalism an economy? What truly is capitalism, and where did it come from? It comes from the Hanseatic German families starting around 1300 to 1500. Pure domination of Europe through cutthroat, raw profits capitalism. Capitalism is not an economy. Capitalism is a zero-sum game. In game theory, a zero-sum game, there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. So when you participate in this algorithm of capitalism, there's no growth in capitalism. The corporations win and you lose. Why is it, Zach, that as Americans, we've seen a trend, a pattern? You pay more and get less as time goes on. That is the definition of capitalism. It is a zero-sum game. I'm not saying socialism is the answer. I'm not saying communism is the answer.
Capitalism, right? I mean, that's the definition of inflation, which has a lot to do with the central banks. Capitalism, theoretically, is the ability to sell and purchase goods from others, but we live in this world of crony capitalism.
That's a free market. Free market economy is one thing. There can be growth in a free market economy. There is no growth in capitalism. And I'm speaking from this is economic experts, people who've written 30 years of economics, who have written about capitalism will tell you it was invented for a particular purpose. And it is a transfer of wealth. That's all capitalism truly represents. Now, I have to defer to Professor Sam Vaknin, who's not only an expert on narcissism, but the first 30 years of his life, he was an economic expert. He advised large countries and small countries. He wrote several books on economics. So I'm referring to his lectures on this. But when you look at a zero-sum game, you're always going to lose. I'm going to refer to Cy Inspections. He's an inspector, home inspector out of Arizona. He shows you whether it's a $200,000 brand new house or $1 million brand new house. These huge, large companies that build the majority of houses in this country, they are charging you for insulation, not giving you insulation. There'll be broken trusses. We're talking about huge problems for homeowners. And it's as if there's this scheme of you paying more and always receiving less. So I don't want to keep going on this tangent, but I'll need to send you some information on where I'm referring to these statistics about what capitalism has represented since its inception during the Hanseatic League. Now, I want to take one more point, and I don't want to take too much time. I know I've taken enough. What was going on in Europe from 1300 to 1500? According to Martin Luther.
From what years?
From 1300 to 1500 in Europe. According to Martin,
the abuse of the church.
Exactly.
Taxation, the indulgences.
Exactly. Now, the prostitution rings to getting the Christians to go out and sin to get their, golden ticket to heaven. Do you think that there wasn't any tricking going on with those men? Consumption, consume. That's what capitalism is all about. The Hanseatic League was probably running roughshod with the church at the time. I'm willing to bet that the church, the Hanseatic League, the quote unquote small hats, they were in cahoots with one another because the Hanseatic League, some of them are German Jewish families. So
well, sure.
at
That's
the
why
end of
Martin
the
Luther targeted both groups. And he was making
exactly.
the point that, listen, they're the ones running all the things that are bringing you into sin. So you're going to the brothel on the weekend, and now they come and say, now you're going to pay the indulgence. You know, that they're
So we
begging
have
you
this
at the brothel on the weekend, and then you're going to pay the indulgence the next day. So
we have this powerful timeline. 1200s, Knights Templar, world's first bankers. 1300s to 1500s, the Hanseatic League, the creation of capitalism, cutthroat capitalism. This is the merchant system of extracting money from the lesser populace. And then in the 1500s, you have the world's first intelligence organization and hit squad. Now, please tell me, all the whack jobs out there, how are the tiny hats, where are they even a part of this overall power structure? They weren't the bankers. They weren't initially the power structure. I think they're just a convenient front, because we have the world's first capitalists, the world's first bankers, and the world's first intelligence organization all before them. They're a convenient front to blame everything on, because why? They got kicked out of how many countries beforehand? Right. So you have these idiots that have a bad name, that basically have shit all over their face. They're the perfect patsy. I mean, and half of them have boiled noses.
I'm not some defender of the small hats. Again, they make themselves very unlikable. They're easy not to like. You know, but they are the perfect patsy.
And they're not a good,
very clever, intelligent people, and they know how easily it is to fool the masses. They're just so easily fooled. Here, give them Hollywood and the news. The idiots will come out and go, well, they run all the news networks. Yeah, they might be the names on the ownership of the news networks, but are they dictating what's in the news? No. So
find me the supermodel or the Casanova that's Jewish. They're an ugly people as well. So essentially, you have these turds with a terrible reputation who look like turds.
Hold on, though. Hold on.
Perfect patsy.
Pretty cute Israeli women, honestly. But anyway,
well, I'll give you that. I have a good one, man.
All right, man. Take care. All right, let's get Flip Flop topics in here. What's up, Flip Flop?
Hey, what's up, Jack? How you doing?
Thank you for the dollar. I'm doing well. How are you?
Hey. I ain't got much, but hey. But
man, $1's a lot. I wish more people donate $1. Make all the difference in the world. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it. Yeah, I was the one that gave you that new name, the ABC 123 for your new channel.
Right. Yeah.
And I sent out a image for your channel. I sent it on the Meade app. I don't know if you got it yet. Check it out. And I want to emphasize on this topic and let the viewers know, because remember when I talked about the microgrids. Remember, it was probably like about 2 years ago.
Okay.
What I found out when the viewers, I checked out all these fires that have been igniting all of a sudden. So what I did, I got all those fires and I looked at it, all the locations, right? The state. Okay. And you got to find out, okay, what the county is. So what you do, you go on Google, you put the county, the state, and just put microgrids and tap in search, and bam, there it is. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm also trying to pull up in the background your post that you were talking about on the GematriaEffectNews community, right?
Yes.
All right. I see you're Eugene on there.
Yeah, that's my real name.
When did you post this?
I posted it like 2 days ago, or matter of fact, it was 2 days ago or yesterday.
Oh, I see it right here. I see it. Okay. All right.
And also, I mean, a little rough draft, you know what I mean? But I started the channel probably maybe 2 weeks ago. I was putting out different venues for different topics, and I'm putting your videos out there also, you know what I mean? So spread out the knowledge. And that's all I got. I just want to say appreciate all what you've done, and keep up the good work. And
I appreciate it. And about all again, you guys, I was thinking the idea, count on it for the new podcast, because the old podcast names seem to be blocked everywhere. I really might try several different names at the beginning, just syndicating out the same podcast under several different names to see if one takes off, because a name can make a big difference. ABC 123 could work. So I appreciate the idea and the early artwork. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
All right, man.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
You too.
All right. If anybody else wanted to get in, there were some people in the back room who dropped off. In case any of you guys are still out there and wanted to hop back on real quick, I got a few more minutes and then I got to go. I'm dropping the link one more time. And yeah, for the dedicated troll in the chat, if you want to come on and explain what the point of trolling the channel is. Again, don't you think more people should know about this ABC 123 news by the numbers every single day code? Don't you think that would be enlightening for a lot of people to see how they're getting played? Realize that all these candidates are stooges on the world stage. They're investing all their time and energy and emotions and taking part in a side that they really don't need to be taking sides in, since neither of those sides really represent them. Again, a lot of people have embraced this work, changed their life, and are no longer useful idiots. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing over here. We're helping people become no longer useful idiots. But where's the Chabad guy? Where's the guy every day about Chabad? Why didn't he come on? Chabad. It's Chabad. All right, we got Gematria32 hop back on. What's up, Gematria32?
Did you touch on the MLK assassination today?
Well, I started out talking about why he was killed on the 95th day of the year in light of Martin Luther.
Oh, and like kill equals 44, shooting, execution, 44 caliber.
Yeah.
And all that, April 4th. It's interesting that, would you write out 144? When you write that out, do you put the and?
Say that part again.
When you write out in the calculator, in the Gematrinator, 144, did you put the and or the ampersand?
When I write out what again?
144, like 144. You put the and?
Oh, it's better to not write the and. It's just 144 is true. So, I mean, I think the and can be, because a lot of people do say it that way, but truly the number is 144.
If you put the and in there, I think it equals 271. Like today is, today leaves 271 days left in the year.
Sure.
I think that was interesting.
Okay.
But also,
just for the record, also about the 44 thing in light of MLK getting killed on 4/4, James Earl Ray did die 44 days after his birthday. James Earl Ray is the supposed assassin of MLK. Again, shooting, execution, and kill all equal 44.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, when you write out 44, it equals 144. That's why. Or when you write out April 4th, it equals 144 as well. So for anyone that didn't catch on.
I got an old post on James Earl Ray. I feel like there's when you spell out April 4th as a word, it equals 144, like Jesuit order.
Yeah. The post you did on Dr. Dre, 44 reasons come in my mind. That post is legendary.
Okay, yeah.
You remember which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. You got a good memory.
Yeah, that post is. I think you should share that one with everyone. They would get a undeniable.
Well, I want to put all I don't have that in the version of the book I'm working on right at 38, so I'm gonna have to add that one, because all the lyrical references from hip hop. There's a lot of number stuff in there. I mean, DMX on his song Damien has to bring up 38th. He has to kill his friends on 38th.
Yeah, but you know how African American also equals 44. Obama ran on hope, which equals 44. Like, just amazing, bro. Like the 40, they won't let me post the 44 list because it's shadow banned, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But as always, Zach, you're amazing. Thank you for the work.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
People really should invest in your books because they're investing in themselves. But anyway,
if you guys want to get my books, they're on my website, GematriaEffectNews. If you want to buy them, or you can download them for free off my Patreon. Either way, appreciate it, Gematria32. Thank you.
Yes.
XAI, what's up? And then we got Richard, and then we got Aiden, and then I gotta get out of here. What's up, XAI?
What's going on, Zach? Just wanted to throw a little contribution in there. If you were still taking podcast title names,
I am.
If nothing else seems to work, maybe if you don't know, now you know podcast.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's all I had to add. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, that is how it is with this knowledge, except for all the deniers. What's up, Richard?
Yo, what's up, man? Hey, I think a good name for the podcast would just be Number Games.
Yeah, number games, that could definitely work. I got a book with number games. Yeah.
Simple and easy, man. Simple and easy. Number Games. I think that's an easy title. I like the other one. The other one you said right now. If you don't know, now you know. That sounds pretty cool too. I like that. But yeah, man. I'm just tired of all these retards, man. I'm tired.
Well, what do you think about the troll in the chat who said I've never done a decode on a jazz artist? What about the one I just covered at the beginning of last month who died on the 63rd day of the year? Jazz equals 63. I got a decode for Jazz Chisholm tomorrow in the MLB 63 days after his birthday. Hush up, troll. Beat all your arguments in 2 seconds.
I know who that troll is too. It's that fucking gas station attendant. That dude's the only dude trolling, saying that shit. That's all he says every fucking day. It's Chabad. It's Chabad. And he tries to claim me and you are part of some Chabad agency, which is false. I'm not Jewish. So, I mean, that's false right there. Trying to say I'm a Jewish agent. How am I a Jewish agent? I'm not a Jew. But, yeah, I just get tired of these retards. Just to touch on the tariffs, man. I just see all these retards, right? Even, like, there's a guy that I work with, right? And I was trying to talk about tariffs, right? Like, just like, because he thinks it's going to be a great thing that tariffs are going to be imposed. I'm like,
he's in that Trump mania, right? Everything Trump says, it's the golden era, man. Just wait for the 10 trillion losses to the economy. It's going to be golden.
Yeah, he's a trust the plan type. And I was trying to explain to him about Adam Smith. He's like, who's Adam Smith? I'm like, he's the one that wrote about the about tariffs.
That's just when you know the conversation's already over. Who's Adam Smith?
Yeah.
This is what I hate about Americans. Just dumb people who believe in total loads of shit and feel holier than thou. Just, again, going with their pack of the herd. They're like, what do you mean? There's a big herd of us over here who believe in trust the plan.
Just like you were saying earlier, man, if it was a Democrat that did it, they would about it, crying about it.
Right. And that's all this. That's really all this nation is just people who they really don't stand for anything other than their political party. That's why there are all these outraged Democrats about the wars, and then the Democrats take the House, Senate, and Oval Office, escalate the wars, and all of a sudden they're just cool as everything. They don't have anything to say about the war anymore.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And it's like you see all these people just sucking off Donald Trump. All these Republican types. They're like, oh my God. And then people are like, oh, it's not a trade war. Yeah, it is a trade war. Yeah, it is a trade war. And it's exactly what's going on. And things are going to get more expensive. Can you imagine what it's going to be like 4 or 5 years from now? Things are going to be more expensive. People think things are going to be expensive right now. No, I think things in 5 more years are going to be more expensive than they are right now.
Well, everything gets more expensive as time goes on. That's a safe bet.
Right.
So.
Right.
It's like my mom, my mom, she didn't have a high school education, cleaning houses. She was able to, as a single mom, was able to buy a house back in the early 70s. I think her first house cost $5,000. And that same house today is probably worth $500,000. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or about 800,000. Almost. Yeah. It's $1 million.
It was a small little house in Portland. I bet it's worth around $500,000 today. It's tiny little dumpster. Probably worth $500,000 today. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I just get tired of all these retards, man. I just get tired, like that guy I was just telling you about. As soon as he said, who's Adam Smith, and what does that matter? I just said, you know what, never mind. I just stopped the conversation. And that, man, just like, I get tired of these retards.
You're breaking up, King Richard. You're breaking up.
Oh, my bad, man. Can you hear me now?
What is this? I had to see if there's been any stories about Trump and Adam Smith. Apparently, there's a politician named Adam Smith who's been calling out Trumps in recent days. Talk about mockery. Who is Adam Smith calling out the Trump administration? It's a representative. Look at these jokes, you guys. Oh, my God. Representative Adam Smith's calling out Trump while all this trade war shit's going on. Jesus. God, I hate the way they mock us, man. He's out of my state too. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just right there, right? I mean, just right there, the mockery right there. It's just like yesterday with 2 days, Carmelo Anthony gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. The same time, another Carmelo Anthony is doing a stabbing
Look at all of it. Carmelo, the way they
Rico's on
spell it,
Twitter
42 on 4-2, another flood tragedy by the 52 code. It's just like everything I've ever taught here gets validated more and more every day. And somehow the subs go further and further down every day. It's just impossible. I think King Richard's cutting out. King Richard, appreciate the call, man. I'm gonna let Jay get it. Or we got Aiden and then Jay. Aiden and then Jay. What's up, Aiden?
Hey, Zachary, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
All right? Great. First off, to piggyback what he said for a second, I agree. Like anyone in the chat or in general calling Zach a shill for promoting Gematria, I mean, they just don't know what's going on. They got their head too far up their ass. You know, just the fact you're producing this information, I think, is a testament to you as a prime truther. I just wanted to say that, and people in the community that help out too, calling them shills or Hubbard, you know, that's just ridiculous. I mean, people need to wake up.
Hold on, I gotta interject here. This Adam Smith guy that's in the headlines for calling out Trump while all this trade war stuff's going on, he has the same birthday as Xi Jinping. Come on, man.
That's wild. And then I just wanted, since you brought it up, I have done some studying on Hubbard, and I think it plays into, we could explain it right now to where I think it still satisfies your theory and the general truth. So a lot of people will say that Hubbard's, you know, at the leadership right now, but I still agree with you that it's, you know, the Jesuits that are controlling Western society and therefore the world currently. And it was the Jesuits that created Zionism.
Hold on. I got to get it right. They're not just controlling Western society. They've been controlling the East for longer than the U.S. has even existed. These people are running the world.
True. I was just thinking in terms of through the English language, starting from the Western society, and now it's spread throughout the world that way.
Sure.
But that's to say that Zionism is derived from Jesuitism. It's most Zionists aren't even Jewish. Most Zionists are Christians. But I think that Hubbard's playing into like this. I'm seeing a 2025 Jewish psyop of like the where that's being pushed almost like a controlled op currently to misdirect people. But it's not to say that they aren't in control. I'd say it's probably just a different level, probably a bottom level, because there's serious connections with Hubbard. You know, the Rebbe. You know,
just to be fair, so you know where I stand. Like, if we have a totem pole of things controlling the world, to me, the Jesuits are at the top. But on that totem pole of 10 different faces, Chabad or Hubbard or however you say it, they probably are up there. I understand that there's a reason that Martin Luther led the Protestant Reformation against essentially these two groups. And there's such a thing as papal Jews, which is essentially what they would break down to. But to act like it's just, you look at this truth committee, 95% of it thinks these are the people running the world, and they are wrong. And it can be proven every single day. Go ahead.
I would agree. I would just say that it's peculiar now with Trump in office that Hubbard has more power, because you see Trump's connections with Hubbard Lubavitch going all the way up to the Rebbe, who's now passed, and, you know, his many visits to Israel, the Wailing Wall, many yarmulke wearings. It's, I think Hubbard has more of a line through the White House and United States power now under Trump. And I think that is also playing into greater Israel. But like you said, it goes back to the Jesuits mostly. By
the way, this Adam Smith joke they have going on right now. Do you think Adam Smith, do you think here, I'm going to give you an ABC like we're in school. Do you think he went to a Hubbard university, a Jesuit university, or neither?
I'm going to, you know, I don't know, so I don't want to guess, but I would say probably a Jesuit or a
Yeah,
Catholic.
he did. And he went to the same one Trump went to, Fordham.
Oh, wow. No, see, no, I'm not denying that at all. I'm just saying that they certainly are in power. I think it's sort of like you said, it's sort of totem pole thing, more like the pyramid, I'd say. But I would certainly say that Hubbard has lines through directly to the top, because I think a lot of Jesuitism, and next to that I'd see is Freemasonry. I think they derive a lot of their mythology, their black magic from Judaism. So it's such a delicate thing to talk about, which is so brutally put out in social media now, just blatant anti-Semitism, say that Jews are running the world. No. But we have to acknowledge that even the Jesuits over time have adopted some of these mythologies that are birthed from Judaism. And I think the prime thing now is the messianic apocalypse theory, which Hubbard subscribes to fully, which is almost how they define their religion, which might be why they're coming up strong. And that's just their superstitions are being used.
Well, and think about that. That's just like I showed how behind the gematria, their name with the silent C is 35 like Catholic. And what they believe in ties in more with that Old Testament prophecy of the return of the Messiah and destruction. So who's really behind this Jewish group?
It's ironic because scapegoating comes from an ancient Jewish myth. And you could see right now that Hubbard and Jews and Judaism itself are being scapegoated through Zionism to fulfill the Greater Israel Project and usher in the total New World Order. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
So I think Hubbard's playing into it, but almost as in scapegoats. And it's the difference between Western culture and Jewish culture, which has lasted longer.
I'm realizing it's getting late here. I do got to get going. I want to do another topic on this, and I hope you call in because you got a lot of information. I'd like you to be a contributor in that stream. So I do appreciate
I'd love
it.
to, Zach. Okay, one thing quick though. Custom Grow 420. Custom Grow 420. He's was the biggest cannabis YouTuber and is still popular. And he was in your chat shouting you out and says he loves you. So if you can reach out to him somehow, he has over 1 million subscribers. He would probably love to do a thing with you. And that's, stoner culture, but that could be an inroad to that.
Well, yours truly finally gave up weed just before his 41st birthday, which was hard. I do miss it, but yeah.
No, good for you. You have a kid. Priorities are priorities.
Yeah. Custom Grow 420. All right, check it out. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You'll laugh. Thanks, Zach.
Right,
have a good one.
Thank you. All right, we got Jay, and then we got King Rich back. What's up, Jay?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. I know you guys know where to be, but I just wanted to call in real quick and talk about the capitalism thing because I feel like a lot of people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what true, unfiltered, unadulterated capitalism truly is, and they're blaming all of not necessarily all the world's problems, but they're blaming a lot of what's going on and a lot of the world problems and the state that the world is in on capitalism. But I think that's just because they have a misunderstanding of what it is. All capitalism is the voluntary exchange of goods and services and the private ownership of said goods and services.
And the ability to make a profit.
Yeah. All that shit that's going on, none of this shit got anything to do necessarily with true capitalism. If we lived in a true capitalist society, the world would honestly be a lot better off than it is now. It would be way better than this. These tariffs that's happening, that's going to make everything more expensive for everybody. None of that shit got anything to do with capitalism. It's the direct opposite of capitalism. It's diametrically opposed to the concept of capitalism. A tariff is something that a state will do to inorganically shift the market in their favor. That's what the state does. They pass laws. That's what they did during COVID. The wealth transfers that we see happen in our modern society, they would not happen under a true capitalist free market society. We live in a controlled market where the state
crony capitalism.
Exactly.
Crony capitalism. That's what we live in.
It's a controlled society where the state is passing laws to benefit specific groups of people while making other groups of people poor and stripping the wealth away. I used to go to a restaurant in Atlanta with my dad, and it had really good food. It was really good, and it had better quality food. But guess what? When COVID happened and they forced all these businesses to shut down, and all the wealth got reallocated to these big corporations that were allowed to keep going. But when that business shut down, that business is still out of business. They couldn't come back up. They had to. All this shit got wiped out. So many smaller businesses got wiped the fuck out by that shit that they did in 2020 that are never going to be able to recover from it.
Just what you're saying reminds me of something. I remember I was on the corner all the time in Yakima during the time of this pandemic, telling people not to get the shot. So there was this, just behind me, there was this really old restaurant that had been in Yakima forever, a local Mexican restaurant. And they claimed to have the biggest tequila bar in the world west of the Mississippi. And I don't know if that was true or not. A lot of restaurants make claims, but they did have a ton of different kinds of tequila. They went out of business in the time of this pandemic. And then what's interesting is what came in there. What the guy who took over wasn't even an American. A foreigner came in, Asian guy. He had a Maserati, and I just kind of thought about that. I was like, look at this local establishment with local people's out of business, international money coming in. Got the international Asian spot now. This kind of stuff went on all over the country, man. It's just
And I just want to make one final point to people. If you really people think that capitalism keeps the rich richer and the poor poor. that honestly couldn't be further from the truth. That's what we live in. That's what we live in now is what does that. If we lived in a true free market, there would be more opportunities to raise yourself up out of the bottom because there would be nothing off the table anymore. We live in this.
It'd be fair. It'd be a fair system. You can't compete with Walmart because Walmart's subsidized by the government.
Exactly.
Man. Walmart putting mom and pop out because you can't compete with Walmart's prices.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like the algorithm controlling shit for YouTube. Like we don't even live in that with YouTube. They make it seem like it's a fair chance. It's not, because we know that the algorithm controls what goes viral, what goes popular. It's artificially and inorganically influenced. We need to live in a society where none of that is going on. So you would be able to sell, like for example, where I am, selling weed is illegal. But I know a lot of people that do it, but it's illegal. But if they were allowed to do it, they were allowed to set up shops. That's another opportunity for you to make money. You do what you want to do. You sell what you want to sell. The government's not telling you no. It's minimal government influence. But what we have right now, when you have people passing tariffs and Jim Crow laws and redlining laws, all of that goes against the free market. A state telling the business, oh, you gotta do this. You're gonna sell to these people, or you're going to jail. You're gonna sell this. Like none of that is fucking capitalism. None of that is free market. It goes against it. It's the state controlling shit for their favor. That's all I wanted to say and clear up. I think when people advocate against capitalism, I think we're selling ourselves short as a society. We should be arguing for a free market because that would actually allow more opportunities for people to essentially unpoor themselves and allow more opportunities, because now everything is truly at an even playing field.
I agree. I completely agree. Well,
that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you. You have a good day.
All right.
King Richard, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Zach? My bad about the connection there. Bad connection issues going on. But no, I just wanted to add on to your point, because I've seen that you were talking about how this Adam Smith was going after Donald Trump.
I'm gonna call Adam Smith's office. I got to get somewhere, but I got to call Adam Smith's office before this stream ends.
We all do, bro. We all do, brother. I mean, we all got to call him up. It's not just you. Everybody has to do it. Me, including me. You know what I'm saying? But I've called some of these politicians, man. And whenever they have an ad on, they're always like, yeah, call your local politician and call them up and tell them how you feel. And then you call them up, they never answer the phone. It's like, but anyway, that's not the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make is just write out David Adam Smith. His name equates to the same thing as Adam Smith, 88 and 56. Like Trump.
This guy who went to Fordham?
Yeah.
And I always say, I have an old post on how Fordham's the 88 university.
Right. Yep. Yeah, Trump equals 88. Adam Smith, 88. It's David Adam Smith, 56 and 88. I mean, come on, man.
Isn't it crazy just how good they got this puppet show? It's just crazy.
Right, exactly. And people don't see it, man. See, it's like, man, people just can't see through this shit, man. If anything, they're like right now, the Republicans are blaming Democrats for shit. I guarantee you, if a Democrat was in there right now, they'd be doing the same thing. It's a puppet show, man. It's a fucking puppet show. And I want to add on really quick, because I know you got to be somewhere real quick, but I want to add on to the point Jay was making about capitalism and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of these big box stores like Walmart, they come around and they eat up, and I've seen that. Like they came around, fucking eat up all the mom and pop businesses, put them all out of business. Yeah, it's a real problem.
That's been going on all over America. That's why the whole country is the same strip malls all over, and there's hardly any mom and pop shops. So
it's funny because now the tables have turned on them, and now some of these Walmarts and stuff like that are going out of business. I don't feel bad. I do not feel bad.
That it's not like mom and pop's coming back. It's because more stuff's online and Amazon and all this stuff. Right. So
it's funny how the tables have turned, because now Amazon is pretty much replacing Walmart's. Just think about it. So it's a joke, man. It's a fucking joke. This is a fucking controlled market. It's a rigged market, man. It's a rigged market. But yeah, I just figured I'd add on to that. Appreciate it, Zach. Thank you for having me on here. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, of course, Richard. Thanks, man. Take care. All right, and we got the newest, youngest toker on the block. I gotta go quick though. What's up?
All right, yeah, I'll say this decode quick. I know that you covered part of the story with Austin Meltcalf, the stabbing story.
Right.
But this is a huge story, like over Twitter and everywhere. Now people are calling for segregation again off of this fake story. one of the first red flag I saw that was fake, other than that everybody was talking about it, was all these victims, every single time the person always forgives the perpetrator in these fake stories.
And there's no emotion. I saw the twin brother with no emotion. I saw the dad with no emotion. It's like, look how quick they're on the news with no emotion. Weird.
Yeah. Nobody ever cries. Nobody ever has like a normal grieving response. It's like, you or me, if one of our family members died, we would be like inconsolable. And these people are always calm. You don't see any tears. They're oh yeah, I forgive them. If my dad was murdered, the guy whoever did it would they better hide. I certainly would not be forgiving people. But some of the numbers on this, stab is 42, just like Austin, the victim's name. Jesuit 42 also. The guy who stabbed him, his Instagram handle was FTXK, which is 47 and 20. Death is 20. And then, 47, obviously we know about that. This happened in...
If you aren't up on this story, Carmelo Anthony stabs another high schooler the same day that Carmelo Anthony is elected to the Hall of Fame. Again, I mean, just who has the name Carmelo Anthony outside of that basketball player? It's just such an obvious psyop. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it was that was the story. It was a black kid stabbing a white kid for basically no reason in the story, and the city that this happened, it happened in Frisco, Texas. Frisco is 34 and 38.
Marion Barber, the former cowboy, died by the numbers. Yeah, it has the 34-38 like murder, right?
And then the victim's name, Austin Meltcalf, is 144. Like Jesuit order. Yeah, it's just totally fake story. And then what was the 42? Yeah, slavery, Jesuit 42, the N-word's 42, stab is 42, and then Austin's 42. So we got the 42 piece in the story too.
Yeah, it's 42 overload.
In all these racial stories. And also Trump, the extra thing I had to add was that Trump has a Kabbalah teacher. His name's Eaton Yardeni. So Trump's not Christian, and in the Art of the Deal, I think that the foreword is written by his Kabbalah teacher, and so we have a Jesuit president that's into Kabbalah, and this is all like verifiable stuff. I think that maybe on debates you could bring this stuff up. I mean, Kabbalah, he's studying Jewish mysticism, and which is gematria in it. So it's like a direct connection there.
Indeed, absolutely. He even has a Kabbalah plaque on his wall. I've shown that in the past. So, all right. Appreciate it, young guy.
All right, bye.
Have your weekend. All right, I am going to call this Adam Smith's office. He doesn't seem to have a local office. I don't know what's up with that. Let's hope they haven't gone home early for the weekend. 202-225-8901.
Hello, thank you for calling the office of Congressman Adam Smith.
Yes. I just wanted to bring this to Mr. Smith's attention and just realize, or wonder, or I guess hopefully get a response back from about how he feels about this. But I saw he was making headlines for calling out Trump the last couple of days. And of course, Trump's implementing these tariffs that are disastrous for the economy at the moment. And of course, the father of economics is also named Adam Smith. And he wrote The Wealth of Nations. And something I've been pointing out long before Congressman Adam Smith called out Trump in recent days is how Trump implemented his first tariffs once he returned to office on February 1st, which, funny enough, was exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing date of Wealth of Nations, which was March 9th, 1776. Are you following what I'm saying about that being an interesting point, that he would implement his tariffs, his first set of tariffs, exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing of the book, which essentially warns why tariffs are destructive to economies and nations and can lead to war? Are you following me so far? Excuse me?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay, so here's where it gets more interesting. So what I also pointed out is the day that the tariffs were implemented was the 47th day of the Pope's age. And now Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope. And Mr. Adam Smith, your congressman you work for, and Trump, do you realize that they're both Jesuit educated and they both went to Fordham?
The college in Brooklyn, I am aware.
Jesuit University in New York. There's only 27 Jesuit universities remaining in the nation. But I thought, man, what are the odds of that they both went to Fordham? Now, is it true? His Wikipedia for your congressman, it says his birthday is June 15th. Do you know if that's his actual birthday?
I do not.
Ah, well, if his Wikipedia is right, it is. It says June 15th. That's one day after Trump, who's got the same birthday as the flag. But that's also Xi Jinping's birthday, the leader of China. So again, I'd like you to be aware of this, and she might work for a man. Again, the founders of this country gave us the opportunity to protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic. And are you aware at the beginning of the nation, Jefferson and Adams both warned that the Jesuits could overthrow the nation and lead it into tyranny? Are you aware that Jefferson and Adams both spoke about this?
I am not.
Did you know that they died together on the same day on the 4th of July?
I do.
Yeah, and they were the two most outspoken about the Jesuits, who were in suppression when this nation was created. A lot of people, they say those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Pretty much the reason this nation was created was to escape the tyranny of the Catholic Church, which was forcing fees and indulgences on people in Europe. That's why a lot of people sailed across the Atlantic to escape that kind of tyranny of the dogma of the church. And what's funny now is that if you look at the nation's capital, it was moved to where the Jesuits set up camp. Of course, Georgetown was opened in 1789, the same year George Washington was recognized as the first president. Again, there's a reason that Inauguration Day was moved to the 201st day of the nation's age on a date that can be written 20/1. If you don't know, the Jesuits venerate the number 201. There's a reason that Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope to live in Suite 201. There's a reason that Trump's ex-wife fell down the stairs and died. And then was buried on the 201st day of the year. Just like there's a reason that Beau Biden died exactly 201 days before the Pope's birthday at age 46, and the same Jesuit priest, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, did the funeral and then the inauguration. Again, the point I'm making is you work for a Jesuit politician, and there are a lot of them in D.C., and what it seems like they really do is they put on rituals and a puppet show, and they mock we the people who don't know. I mean, you go out and survey the average American right now. They don't know anything outside of Pornhub. Ask them who Adam Smith is from The Wealth of Nations. They probably don't have a clue. They might be chanting mottos like "Trust the Plan." But again, the point I'm making is it's not an accident that Trump implemented these destructive tariffs exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing of that book. Just like it's not an accident that Adam Smith, his beef with Trump, is in the headlines right now while this is going on. And here's the thing I'll tell you about 47. Look into the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Because if you're not aware, the Jesuits gave us the calendar, and they also standardized the English alphabet with 26 letters. And what they did is they put a numerical system to the English language that's just like what's behind Hebrew, Aramaic, and Ancient Greek. It's known as Gematria in Hebrew. It's known as isopsephy in Ancient Greek. The same system is behind the English language. And it'll blow your mind if you look into this, but the word tariffs equals 47, just like Republican equals 47, like Democrat equals 47, like government equals 47, like White House equals 47, like president equals 47. There's a reason the cornerstone was laid for this nation or for the Capitol on a 47 date numerology. And there's a reason that it was laid for the Washington Monument on the 4th of July. And there's a reason this nation's birthday is the 4th of July. Because if you look into the history of that, it kind of doesn't make sense that it is the 4th of July. These people work by a code. The word Vatican also equals 47. And go back to Super Bowl 58, the first Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday, 47 points in the game. Again, the same secret societies that were behind the establishment of this nation are the same ones that run all the major sports leagues. The point I'm making is the game is rigged, and you might want to look into the man you work for. Again, founders warned that the Jesuits could overthrow this nation, and you look at the stuff that's going on. I mean, the scandemic from 5 years ago, it was simulated by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. Here we are in March 5 years later with the chump back in office, and the same kind of stuff's going on with China in the U.S., Here's one more kicker I'll leave you with. Sun Tzu, Art of War. Are you familiar with this text?
No.
Sun Tzu, Art of War? You don't know that one?
No, I do not.
Really? Art of War, man, famous book. You should look into Sun Tzu, Art of War. Very famous text. The only reason it's known about is because of the Jesuit priest, Father Amiot, who translated it. The common belief is that Sun Tzu, the Chinese war general, died at age 47. And again, the point I'm making is there's a reason they're doing this with China and the U.S. and the Jesuit history and art of war and Trump starting a trade war by the numbers in tribute to the history of what Adam Smith warned about with how destructive tariffs can be to the economy. And look at what's going on right now in this ritual. Of course, the tyrants at the top are making a killing off this, probably with options trading, knowing that they're tanking the market on purpose. But the average American's getting destroyed right now. And meanwhile, in the headlines, we're reading about Adam Smith targeting Trump for this and that. What I'm trying to get the word out to is as many people as possible. I spend my time calling a lot of congressmen's office because a lot of these congressmen are puppets on strings. And, they're in the headlines at the time they are for ritualistic purposes. Don't you find it strange that you're, I got to be honest, I never even realized that there was an Adam Smith representative until the headlines right now while this whole trade war thing's going on. Don't you find it funny that he's in the headlines right now? No comment?
I can't share any personal beliefs.
Okay, well, it's not about belief. It's about evidence. And again, you should look into Jesuit Fordham and Trump's attendance there in 64, the year before Mr. Adam Smith, your representative, was born. And really think about what I'm saying. And I would hope people like you who work in the nation's capital would help get the word out, because we are supposed to be able to protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic. And the reality is the enemies are domestic, and they're working in a lot of Congress offices, and they're selling us down the drain, and they're giving up rights and liberties in the name of safety, all the thing the founders warned about. And all these major events of the 21st century that have really changed the landscape. Here's one more thing I'll leave you with. Look into the year 1968. It's really weird, all the things that happened in 1968. It was the year that fentanyl was approved by the FDA. It's the year that coronavirus was coined. It's the year that World Trade Center construction began in New York. It's the year that 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. Again, a lot of things went down in 1968. Adam Smith, your rep's connected to Seattle, just like yours truly, who's on the phone. And Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners in 1968. Supposedly it was all Boeing planes on 9/11. But of course, 9/11 got us in Afghanistan, where we killed the Taliban and brought back the opioid production. And the next thing you know, there's a major opioid crisis. And now we're at this stage in the game where fentanyl's everywhere, killing people left and right. It's funny how in 1968, a Yale professor also wrote the book, The Population Bomb, about how we need to depopulate. And you look at what's going on. Fentanyl's killing a lot of people. These wars on tariff killed a lot of people. COVID-19's killed a lot of people. If you look into The Population Bomb, you'll see that book's 201 pages long. It's kind of like how 2 towers became 0 before they became 1 World Trade Center. It's kind of like how Event 201 was the COVID simulation. It's kind of like how the Pope lives in Suite 201 at the Vatican. It's kind of like how Bill Gates, who I'm sure you're familiar with since he's in Adam Smith City, he was part of the Event 201 simulation, and his ex, Melinda French Gates, is from a family of Jesuit priests and has the same birthday as the Jesuits. Again, this is the kind of stuff we need our Congress people speaking about in Congress. The agenda's going on, and we need people like Adam Smith. Well, I don't expect Adam Smith to do it since he's Jesuit educated, but again, once upon a time, there were our founders warning about the Jesuits, and if they came out of suppression, how they could subvert the nation. And I just see the stuff going on with Biden to Trump to a million others. And I don't know enough about Adam Smith, so I'm not going to condemn him. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of good people who went to a Jesuit university. But I say, what are the odds that they're using him in the headlines right now? And he went to the same damn school as Trump. And according to his Wikipedia, he has the same birthday as Xi Jinping, one day after Trump's, which is also one day before the Adam Smiths, who was born on June 16th, the father of economics. Anyway, thanks for listening to me. I hope some of this made sense to you, and I hope you look into it, because this stuff's going on every day. Your congressman and 1,000 others. You have a good day, sir. Have a good weekend. All right. Anyway, maybe information overload, but he was listening, and you just never know. Maybe 10 years from now, he's Maybe we finally have a mass shooter taking out the right targets. You just never know. You know what I mean? Just joking, censor tube. Just joking. I'm just tired of reading about all these mass shooters who hate the government and are online conspiracy theorists who shoot up the market or the mall or the theater or the hospital. It's like, why don't they ever target the people that they wrote about in their manifesto? I don't get it. Seems like it's all a psyop meant to get people to give up their First and Second Amendment. And yeah, it seems like all it really is. They all hate the government and they all shoot up their local grocery store. Weird. Doesn't make any sense. Not a bit. All right. Anyway, thank you, Smeed20. And yeah, just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable the stuff going on in this nation. Adam Smith, the Jesuit-educated Fordham product with the same birthday as the guy Trump has a trade war with, the same Trump who went to Fordham. Maybe Fordham's a Chabad University. All right, I got to get out of here, you guys. I'm almost an hour late. All right. Until next time, True Seeker. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. Thank you to everyone who hit the like and the share. Thank you to the very generous donors. I appreciate all that very much. And until next time.